Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, September 29th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? Hermit card in its reversal. Wow. Two of Cups in its reversal. This is intriguing. This is intriguing because I got to tell you guys, and I talk a little bit about this here. I am not someone, when I do my readings, Hermit card does not come out a lot. It's not as much like the card is a very hermity card. And what's so compelling is the fact that this card was the card that was our pinnacle card in our recent reading. So if you head over to the stack, you'll be able to see that photo on our recent podcast. Now, there's a lot of cards in this deck. So it's very telling when we have the same card appear, not just the same card, but in the same direction that it appeared in the last reading. So this is a continuation. We're just picking back up in terms of where we left off with the last reading. This is a period of catharsis. This is a period of planting seeds. I also am going to stress right now, this is a period of learning to be uncomfortable with things. And one of the reasons that we keep on seeing this, and we were talking a lot about this, has to do with the fact that we saw that there was an energetic shift that occurred pretty much right before we went through that eclipse cycle. Prior to that experience, a lot of the work that we saw, the relationships that were coming together, were effectively temperance relationships. The adaptability and the identification of what it feels like to build into the space of mutual effort. And a lot of those relationships right now, they're going through a solar plexus opening. This is all moon energy I'm seeing. And the thing about moon, and we're going to be talking about the moon card at length in our next Tarot Church class, which is going to be happening on Wednesday, October 15th. But it's the conversation of why it's so important that we do our shadow work effectively. And again, for the purposes of our conversations, shadow work is the ability to understand and recognize our own energetic aversions, right? The things that are difficult for us to navigate, the spaces or places by which we're trying to do something more effectively. Now, the reason I keep on seeing that this Hermit card is there in its reversal has to do, and this is often why we talk about one of the things that's so fundamental in building in a healthy relationship is the ability to navigate through our own uncomfortability, right? Because when we navigate our uncomfortability, we learn things about the self. And it's not about, we talked about this yesterday. It's not about getting rid of all of our triggers. I don't know where this wild concept came through that made others feel like the job of being on a healthy spiritual journey is to get rid of your triggers. You need those. You're supposed to be triggered about things, right? When we're in a healthy space, our triggers rest. So like specifically and directly, exactly where our standards are, right? We take ownership of those triggers. We articulate the fact that we're triggered for a reason, and then we're able to speak upon why we're energetically triggered. The thing we have to avoid, and this is what's hard about trauma, trauma puts triggers in weird places, right? And when trauma puts triggers in weird places and we don't do the work to heal the trauma, then that's the trauma that we then give to others as they encounter those triggers, right? It talks about the space by which we understand what it takes to heal. And I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now in separation, this is what I'm talking about with those 3 different modalities I see in separation right now. And it's all coming into a cathartic point. It's not to say that there aren't true apologies that are happening in this energy, but I keep on hearing a true apology is an apology without any strings attached. It's an apology by which another person articulates something specifically because they understand, they want, and again, Mars in Scorpio, understanding the force of change, wanting to let another know how much they have changed in order to facilitate and recognize what they're trying to do more effectively. So I feel like there's something really, I feel like there is something really beautiful about some of the upon some of the restoration that's happening in this retrograde cycle, because I keep on hearing it's apology that allows another person a point of catharsis. And catharsis is something that feels energetically restorational, because it helps us identify like the space by which we understand that we're moving in the right direction. Now, at the same time, this is also why I see that this retrograde could be having a lot of energy moving into separation. And what's interesting about it is some of this separation is thought they were in separation. I see some energy that has thought for like some period of time right now that they were in separation, but this seals it. And why is the energy now in sealed separation? The energy is in sealed separation because I keep on getting the message. If these were circumstances or situations that there was some kind of fragmentation that occurred in the conversation about a manifestation goal, there was some kind of explosive moment that caused for a rift, then the energy was moving forward but holding on to hope that could be something energetically different, right? The observation of being able to, this is energy that's been healing with full understanding of what another person would need to bring to them in order to facilitate productive, healthy healing. And this is why I keep on hearing, if during this retrograde season, instead of another coming towards them out of a sense of restoration, right? Wanting to kind of pick back up upon something, wanting to continue the energetic conversation in terms of moving towards a manifestation goal, but instead was trying to mollify, which is not necessarily having a productive conversation, but just checking if someone was still emotional to see if they could go back to something. This is what I keep on seeing is allowing, I keep on hearing for some sealed separation. And the reason it's sealed separation is it's giving another person the catharsis of recognizing and feeling affirmed in relationality to the direction that they were headed upon. This brings us to a lot of the energy right now that's moving, the energy that's moving, that's coming together. This is why we are identifying and recognizing so much energetic trepidation. Why are we seeing so much energetic trepidation right now? Because for a lot of the relationships or a lot of the situations that we're identifying or recognizing are working towards, working towards getting to know one another. I keep on seeing these are situations or circumstances that are healing, that are effectively healing from experiences wherein they've experienced wounds from another person. And this is what's so hard about some of these relationships. They're healing from other energy, I keep hearing healing from other energy, not being clear in relationality to what it is that they effectively wanted, right? They're experiencing the wounds of another self-deception, which is the difference between recognizing and identifying the direction that one is moving towards, the ability to articulate upon it, that allows the space by which one is able to move towards a manifestation goal. I keep on seeing that these are relationships that everything was fine until something was moving in accordance of a relationship. And then again, energy that ran in the opposite direction. It's not enough just to say that one has a manifestation. One has to have the understanding of the self that allows one to arrive to be able to move towards it. And so everything we keep on seeing in relationality to a lot of that work, they're holding hope for one another, but coming to know each other very, very carefully, very, very cautiously, right? There's a lot of this, I keep on saying there's a lot of this energetic trepidation there, but a lot of this energetic trepidation that we're effectively identifying in these experiences is speaking towards the energy that has been hurt before, and they're not allowing the past to inform them, but they're building into the hope or aspiration of what it is that they aspire to find going forward. This brings us to those temperance relationships that are moving deeper into divine union right now. And again, to clarify, those were the relationships that were coming together between Uranus going retrograde up until the time of Mercury and Venus between the time of Uranus going retrograde right before the eclipse up until the solstice period that we experienced over the summer. Yeah, this is this is Eight of Wands in its upright. These are relationships, circumstances, and situations that they're going backwards to go forward, is the best way I can describe it. And why are they going backwards to go forward? Because it's more of the conversation that we saw that said it wasn't that they weren't keeping things from one another, but they didn't go into granular detail on the full depth of something that happened to them because they didn't want to center their trauma as they were moving into partnership. And this is why I keep on seeing for a lot of these relationships, the space by which they're able to articulate that readiness, the ability to amplify the fact that they're energetically ready to share something with another or to speak towards it. I keep on seeing that it feels, again, there's catharsis because it's like the catharsis of feeling the relationship that's strong enough to be able to share fully to another without it affecting how they feel about one another, right? Like it's giving me, it's like the relationship is the load bearing weight. It's the space by which it's like, and this is why I meant about it being a solar plexus opening. It's like a lot of that energy. It's that sharing that becomes energetically profound because I keep on hearing that is the space by which they're feeling that and experiencing that together. This brings us to the energy moving deep within divine union, and these were those magician partnerships that were coming together between the solstice period up until the time of Mercury and Venus stationing direct behind Neptune. Yeah, we've got Six of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Three of Cups in its upright. So the thing that we're seeing, particularly and especially with the Six of Swords in its reversal and the Three of Cups, has a lot to do with the energy is going through that maturation process where they're basically just coming to terms with the fact that the energy outside of partnership is I keep on hearing like recalibrating as the result of being in a centered relationship. And I kept on saying that for a lot of these relationships, it's wild because they've been in partnership before, but never centered like this one. And centered partnership often affects the orbit outside of relationship. And that's why I keep on seeing, but the energy isn't working too hard to try to resolve it because they recognize that it's a maturation process. If this is the energy that's deepening into a connection and they're going through a moment of celebration and someone outside of partnership is experiencing rumination, they understand that they're witnessing Saturn's lessons. You can't touch Saturn's lessons, right? You can't change how another person feels. They potentially even remember a time that they themselves felt that way. So what do we see that they're doing right now? They're giving each other catharsis. They're reaffirming to each other, right? I keep on hearing they're reaffirming to each other that their joy, right? That their joy is something that should be mutually shared by those that are. It's funny. I was about to say shared, but I heard square because they say mutually shared by those that are square with them. And the reason they're saying mutually shared by those that are square with them is the space by which when we all want the same manifestation goal and we're moving towards positivity, right? Then that is often the calibration that helps you see the energy that is moving in accordance towards the manifestation versus someone that effectively wants something that is separate or different from the self. So I keep on seeing that, like, you know, there's like there's a heaviness there, but it's heavy in the right ways, if that makes sense. Continuing to get clarification between our Hermit card in its reversal and our Two of Cups in its reversal. Moving back to the energy and separation, we've got here the Seven of Wands in its reversal. And here's the thing, like, here's the thing that's happening right now for some of the energy and separation, which is it's talking a bit about the I feel like it's talking a bit about the fluidity of partnership, the fluidity of catharsis in like a healthy partnership is one that I keep on seeing. It's the space or the conversation that feels like it's energetically effortless, is what I keep on getting. It is the identification of being able to do something that allows for a lot of that. I keep on hearing like allows for a lot of that fluidity. And there's something important that's coming through right now for the energy and separation as it relates to fluid partnership, because fluid partnership doesn't feel energetically forced. It feels like it's a lot of the space by which we identify and navigate like how simple something can be. And one of the things that we're seeing for the energy and separation, and I think that there's something about those apologies. I told you that there was a small portion of energy right now receiving true apologies. This is what I keep on hearing about a fluid apology. Like a fluid apology is not stoppered by someone saying, I will give you this apology, but only if you give this back to me, right? I keep on hearing like an apology is not an exchange, right? It's not, I keep on hearing there's no bartering in a good apology, is what I keep on hearing. There's no bartering in an apology, which is the space by which we understand that when we feel an energetic apology point, we're effectively, we're fluid upon it, because the fluidity of it is our fluency in understanding ourselves. And so I keep on seeing that's why there's a point of catharsis happening in some of those spaces, because the conversation that one is having is not the space by which another person is just apologizing. They're articulating to another and saying, I'm apologizing because I am now more fluent in the fluid of the self, which is understanding themselves better. Now, this brings us to, and this is why I would not be surprised right now if there is energy that is going through a modality of someone trying to come back to them and say, okay, I'll give you this, but only if that, right? Someone almost trying to concede to a manifestation goal as if they were making some kind of concession. And that's what I meant about the sealed separation, because when another person comes towards us and instead of saying, I'm ready, I can't wait to have something with you, they feel like they're relenting, right? It feels like they're giving something up in order to give us something else. This can sometimes create a sealed separation, because the reason that the separation is sealed is not the recognition of someone that says that they'll come towards us in a manifestation goal, but the manner by which they say it feels more like a concession, right? It doesn't feel like something that they truly desire, so much as it feels like something that they are energetically giving up. And this is why I keep on hearing a celebration should be a manifestation goal. A manifestation should feel fluid, because the fluidity of it is not built or based upon another person feeling like they're conceding something in order to arrive towards a healthy manifestation goal, right? It's the understanding and the recognition of, this is what we often talk about when we talk about alignment. There is a fluidity there, or there is a fluency in relationality to the space by which we recognize and identify what we are energetically doing, how we're effectively going about that. So everything I keep on seeing there, it's saying to me that there's something like that is a modality where I keep on hearing there may have been some energy and separation, but this is the energy that potentially is seeing something in separation that is sealing their energetic direction. This brings us to a lot of the energy right now that is moving towards partnership. And this is what I meant about these. This is what I mean about these moon relationships, or the observation and recognition of situations or circumstances by which we identify. I keep on seeing there's something significant and important there in relationality to, I keep on hearing like the careful trepidation by which they move towards one another. And I keep on seeing like the space by which they're coming to know one another is the space by which they're coming to know one another is fortified and amplified by doing the auric work. And the auric work is effectively looking at the shape surrounding another, looking at the space by which, like, it's the energy that allows for the context of moving in accordance towards a manifestation goal. So this is the energy I keep on seeing. It's not just that they're speaking to each other about what it is that they aspire, but they're also understanding and seeing the environment around one another to see if what they articulate is effectively true to what it is that they're trying to bring towards them. Now, this brings us to a lot of the energy that is moving deeper into divine union, back into those temperance relationships, clarification between our Two of Cups in its reversal and our Eight of Wands in its upright. We have here the Justice card. And what's nice about this Justice card, the thing I'm seeing with this Justice card, and I like seeing a Justice card in the experience, or the like when we're going through Libra season, I'm not surprised to see the Justice card popping up, because for the energy that is the energy that's kind of going through that solar plexus opening right now, as they're moving deeper into divine union, I keep on hearing the solar plexus opening is most articulated by another person saying, I'm finally ready to tell you, right? It's the observation and being able to share something with another, right? The amplification of being able to articulate upon something that may have been hard to speak towards prior to this point. I keep on hearing the same message for these energies. It's not that they weren't sharing something with each other, but they were glossing over it. Because I keep on hearing they understand, like, these are temperance relationships, which say there's a season for everything, right? There's the season to effectively address a trauma and unpack it. And then there's a season to put it away. And so I keep on seeing that this is the energy that's almost like, I keep on hearing it's not the fact that they want to talk about something, but I keep on hearing they're energetically ready to have that conversation. Right? I feel like it's the space by which they're energetically ready to answer those questions, or ready to unpack something, because they feel they've come far enough in partnership that the talking, I keep hearing talking about the trauma will not distort the energetic direction. This brings us to the energy that is moving, like, this is speaking towards the energy that's moving deep within divine union. And for a lot of those relationships, the energy moving deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that these magician partnerships, they are going through like a maturation process. Like, this is a lot right now between our eight of Wands in combination with our Six of Swords in its reversal. There's our two of Wands in its reversal. So what are we effectively identifying right now with the Two of Wands in its reversal? It's hard. They're having conversations with each other about the conversations that they wish that they could have. Like, that's often archetypal of when we see that we're going through a maturation process, because it's almost a space by which they're having a conversation with one another and saying, I wish I could talk to them about this. Like, I wish I could communicate this. But that's what's hard when you're going through a maturation process. It's the space by which the conversation that you want to have with another, but you don't recognize if another person is energetically prepared or ready to have the conversation. That's why I keep on seeing the energy Like the energy in deep within divine union is going through like a lot of surrealness, because they're actually referencing the past version of self. They're remembering how they used to feel, to give reference to something that they're experiencing outside of partnership. Continuing to get clarification between our Six of Swords and its reversal in combination with our Three of Cups. We've got here the Knight of Wands and its reversal. So, you know, the thing with the Knight of Wands and its reversal is, and this brings us back into the energy and separation. And we're going to see a lot of this right now with Uranus and Gemini, right? It's not enough. Like, this is often why sometimes the closing out of an energetic cycle is the moment that you don't hear a yes, the moment you hear a fine. And why is it the difference between the moment you hear a yes versus the moment you hear a fine? What is the difference between that? Because when someone says effectively yes to something, right, it's the vibration, it's the amplification and vibration of another who feels the same, who wants to move in the same direction as us, right? It is the sublime bliss of moving towards something and feeling like it's honoring the yes in the space by which you feel it, and then you feel the vibration of that, and then you feel the delight of moving towards that energetic bliss. There's no fine in bliss, right? There's no fine. There's no fine in bliss, because fine indicates relenting, right? Like fine indicates not a mutual desire to shape something in the direction that one aspires it to, but someone who's almost articulating like the space by which they don't necessarily desire to do something, so much as they're relenting or they're conceding to it. And I keep on hearing like this is what we also get right now between, like, this is the difference we experience between, I keep on hearing like the difference between consent and concede. The difference between consent and concede is energetic consent is the amplification of doing something that effectively delights the self, right? It's moving in the direction of something that feels like it is like that it is positive. Whereas conceding is the articulation of working through something, not because one desires to do it, but because one is trying, like because one is trying to like I keep hearing the dissentful consent of concede is what I keep on hearing. The dissentful consent of concede, which is the space by which another person, I keep on hearing like the space by which another person like comes back to another person and says fine, which feels like somebody not being in a space of wanting something but giving up something in order to articulate that they're energetically okay with something. So everything I keep on seeing here, like that's what I meant about some of the energy in separation, either going through, right? And the reason I bring this up is this is potentially energy that, and I told you, I still see about 3 different modalities in separation. This is either energy in separation that is recognizing a tendency that they may have had about things in the past around something that they've been effectively working on, right? Like working through their own energetic hurdles to be able to articulate to another. Like I keep on hearing there's some energy apologizing to another by amplifying the shape by which another person used to find them, is what I keep on hearing. This is the type of apology I'm seeing. It is a apology where another person is apologizing for the shape by which another person used to find them, right? It's the amplification of how much they've changed. But I also see if these are situations where another person is not coming back to somebody in a space of saying, I'm ready, but instead saying, fine. Like there's a lot of this energy that is like, I told you, they're coming into the sealed separation of understanding the difference, the sound it makes when we have different standards, right? And when we have different standards, right? It's like one of the ways we can identify that we have different standards is not when someone says sure, like yes, it's the space by another person says fine, because it doesn't feel like they're energetically holding them in the same way that we do. And at the same time, this is why, like, this modality that I'm talking about here is why the energy in separation is moving towards each other with so much energetic trepidation, right? There's so much of this energy here that I see is working through the space of trepidation, because I feel like these are the energies in separation who've been hurt before by those who have articulated a desire for something only to find the energetic hurdle within the self when another person tries to move in accordance to it. Getting further clarity right now between our Seven of Wands in its reversal and our Justice card in its upright. Ooh, there's that Ace of Cups. Here's the thing we got to deal with right now. I'm just going to warn you guys about this. We're going to keep talking about it. This is an energetically exhausting cycle that we're going through right now, because there is not just the fact that we're going through a retrograde period, but we have a confluence of different planets that are in retrograde and planetary bodies. And that can create a lot of slowness. It can create a lot of those feelings of energetic blockages. It can feel like that feeling of things that don't feel like they're moving in the right direction. Right? It's weary, right? It's weary. It can make us feel very weary. And to kind of add to that, and I want to stress this, if all you're doing right now is focusing on what feels energetically supportive of the self, right? If you're focusing on just allowing oneself to feel even keeled in this energy, I want you to appreciate how well you are doing, okay? Because the energy is just kind of set to make us feel kind of down, right? Making sure that you're not internalizing external problems, right? Not letting a lot of the intensity of this retrograde cycle get the better of you. And I keep on seeing, and this is just happening across the board right now, that ability of navigating things with a sense of proportionality, right? With a sense of, I keep on hearing, having compassion for each other. And I keep on hearing and this is the work, of this retrograde. It's a lot of the observation of the difference between compassion and dispassion. Because compassion and dispassion, they look very similar. What is the difference between compassion and dispassion? How much shadow work you've done, right? Because when we haven't done our shadow work effectively, then we let our emotions guide our actions, and we look for reasons later, right? We do something ridiculous, and then we say, oh, I was honoring my feelings. It's not honoring your feelings to just do whatever your feelings ask you to do at any moment. That is being led by the feelings. And especially, and this is often why we talk about, these are all Aries lessons, right? This is the work that Aries comes here to do. The observation of being able to recognize and identify that when you say, oh, honoring your feelings isn't doing whatever the feelings dictate. That's being led by them. You have no control of your feelings, right? Honoring our feelings is when we're able to hold something up until the light, right? We honor something when we get a good look at it. When we get a good look at it, it's the space by which we look at something and we understand why we're holding it, right? And so I'm telling you right now, this is why I'm seeing so many different modalities right now in separation, right? It's the quality, it's being able to identify the quality. And when we have good conversation, we're able to amplify and articulate the quality of something that we hold, right? So I keep on seeing what's happening right now has a lot to do, I keep on seeing it has a lot to do with those conversations. It has a lot to do with the, and I keep on hearing it's the space by which we recognize and identify what it is that I keep wondering what it is that we're trying to do in a greater way, but not just what it is we're trying to do in a greater way, but the frustration of energy. And this is how we sometimes carry trauma forward, right? It's not enough to be able to say that one has a manifestation goal, right? It's the observation of understanding what it takes to get there. So everything I keep on seeing, and I feel like that's the thing about it, there's a lot of emotionality here, right? This type of retrograde, and I'm going to tell you right now that the thing about it, and I got to stress this, like, because this is the thing, I was literally talking about this right before we started the podcast. When we got Mars in Scorpio, and then we've got all of these planets in retrograde in Mars, it can create a lot of, how do I describe it best? Misreading into things, barking up the wrong tree. It can create a lot of those modalities by which you navigate like a little distortion point and then you take something energetically personally, is what I keep on seeing. You know, like I keep on getting like, I keep on hearing like, it's like glitch energy. Like that's the best way I can describe it. Right. And so I keep on hearing like, don't take an energetic glitch personally, which is the space by which something small happens and then you just like energetically misread into it. Right. Because that often, I keep on hearing like that's often the space by which we recognize and navigate going through, right? Like going through, I hate like the thing about like, and that's the only thing I get nervous about with like Mars and Scorpio can sometimes be those spaces of being like, what did you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I mean, like, what are you talking about? Be like, what do you mean? I mean nothing. I know. Like, it's like that type of stuff. So that's just something that's coming through across all the frequencies to kind of pay attention to. And I feel like it's specifically in relationality to the fact that Mars is currently, specifically in relation to the fact that Mars is currently in Scorpio. All right. I just like, I feel like that's continuing to get clarification on that, on between our Justice card and our Two of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Yeah, we've got oh man, this keeps on happening. We've been having this happen for like the last 2 weeks. We've got, this is wild. Make sure you take a look at the stack if you're joining us and you want to see the cards. We got an Ace of Cups in its reversal with an Ace of Swords in its reversal right next to each other. You know, how do we describe this? For the energy, I want to walk this through. For the energy and separation, I keep on hearing the same conversation, which is keep on hearing the energy and separation say, I don't want to convince another person to want the same manifestation goals I want. They should just come wanting those things, is what I keep on hearing. And this is often where we get caught up in unhealthy relationship, right? The space by which we feel like we have to sell each other on our manifestation goals. Like this is what we talk about in terms of like having a fully formed relationship, which is not the space by which you feel like you're struggling to get someone on the same page as you. It's just recognizing and identifying if they're there. So, and I feel like that's what I basically see is happening with the energy and separation. For the energy moving deeper into divine union right now, there's something important I'm identifying in relationality to the work of effectively. This is the energy that is coming into a deeper level of vulnerability with counterpart. And I keep on hearing, it's not the fact that they didn't feel like they could before, but they didn't. I keep on hearing they didn't want that trauma to be like the full expanse of their experience in getting to know another person. I just keep on seeing someone say like the ability to talk about something deeply. It's almost like the energy that says, I wanted to tell you more about it, but I didn't want you just to see the self through the optics of the experience of something that happened to me. And so everything I keep on seeing about that, like there's like, It's like there it feels like, I almost feel like it's like the energy that feels the relief in being able to do so in the modality by which they're able to articulate, and another even expresses the fact that nothing has changed, right? Like it has more to do with the fluency. I keep on hearing they're ferment, like there's even more fluency. They're giving each other that, they're not giving each other that history because they need catharsis on it. They need fluency. They want another person to understand them better. Continuing to get clarification, but that's where all this fluency is coming through. Clarification between our two of wands in its reversal, in combination with our Knight of Wands in its reversal. We've got the Seven of Pentacles in its upright. Now, for the energy deep within divine union, this is the energy deep within divine union right now is feeling very old. I keep on getting, they're feeling very old. They're feeling very wizened. But the reason I keep on seeing the fact that they're feeling very wizened is because they remember. They literally are seeing something outside of partnership, and they're feeling the irony of something. And this is why this is what we talk about with something being ironic. Ironic is something that you understand. Like it's often what we talk about in relationality to Saturn's lessons, because the space by which they understand something, because they can see something happening outside a partnership, and they remember the space by which they experienced it, and they understand that they never could, there's nothing another person could have said to them when they were in their feels about it in terms of another person's relationship, is what I keep on seeing. It's like the energy that that's why I keep on seeing them like work through something, because I keep on seeing they're healing. Like it's almost like they're going through a Saturn return. Right. And often Saturn returns help us heal Saturn's lessons. It's the observation of something that we recognize and identify that allows us to feel energetically like reaffirmed. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of this, like they're having conversations. I feel like there's something interesting about the fact that there's some energy that's in partnership right now, in relationality to having a conversation about potentially maturing out of some relationships outside of partnership that are too much in their feels about the fact that there's a healthy partnership happening in another person's life. So everything I keep on seeing there, like I keep on hearing, it's the observation of hoping that something can change, but they're handing that work to time. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Cups in combination with our Ace of Swords in its reversal, Six of Cups in its upright. And we love to see a Six of Cups here in its upright. Because the Six of Cups in its upright, I just keep on seeing the Six of Cups in its upright. The Six of Cups in its upright talks to us about healthy relationship. It talks about the sustaining environment upon which we build into healthy relationship together. And one of the things that we love about the space by which we identify Six of Cups, you know, the thing that we see there that is so important has a lot to do with what it feels like. And I like to point out when I show this card, and I can't wait till we teach on it, it's the sharing of a mutual manifestation goal, right? It feels like an energetic gift. It feels like a gift that we give to one another. And that's what we talk about. It's not enough. And this is why sometimes, like, the space by which another person says fine instead of yes in relationality to our manifestation goals is sometimes the final straw. Like, right, like when we say the final straw of fine, right, the final straw of fine is sometimes a modality by which we offer something to another that feels like a positivity, right? It feels like an energetic gift. But when another person says fine, it's the observation of them not necessarily seeing it in the same way, right? And that's often the articulation of working through this space, that it's not just enough. It's not just enough to want to bring a manifestation to bear. You want someone experiencing the manifestation in the same way that you yourself do, right? It's the healthy manifestation is one that is shared, because it's the amplification of one that is experienced in the same way, not just only by the self, but by the energy surrounding the self, right? It is the celebration point by which, we can share that wish, right? When we share our wish, it feels like a gift because it feels like the amplification. So I keep on seeing that this is something that's fundamental right now for a lot of the energy in separation, because this is the energy that is effectively either, I keep on hearing they're having a point of healing by someone else that is recognizing the significance of finding that wish, right? Like the space by which another person recognizes the work of the self that allows one to do something more effectively. Or it's the space by which another person, right, by which another person does so. And in the context by which, and this is why, the space by which they're coming to know one another, and not just seeing the fact that they're articulating that they desire something, but also seeing the force of intention around and within the self that allows something to feel like it's energetically auric, right? You're cultivating that desire around the self, not just saying that you want something and not moving in accordance to it. But we also see that a lot of the energy is coming into potentially fundamental separation. Like I told you, sealed separation with another in the space by which they were hoping for someone to come towards them with that space of articulating the desire of sharing something mutually. And instead of saying that they're the readiness of being able to share something mutually, they're saying fine, right? Like they're saying fine. They're saying it's more, and it's it's the space by which another person, like I told you, tries to mollify something or see if another person is still emotionally reactive to something. And that's why the energy, I almost feel like I keep on hearing, it's like the space by which they say they're fine. And it's like that culmination by which they allow for the space by which they identify and recognize the disparity in terms of how they feel. Like how another person is checking to see the way they feel to go back to something versus the conversation that would allow something to move forward. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Swords in its reversal and our Seven of Pentacles in its upright. There's that Magician in its reversal. And for the Magician in its reversal now, what we're effectively identifying is there's a lot of this, I want to say there's a lot of this work that we're potentially seeing. There's a lot of this work that we're potentially seeing right now in, how do I describe this best? In relationality to, this is the temperance relationships. The temperance relationships are building. It's wild because I keep on hearing, it's not that they want to talk about the trauma that they experienced in the past. They continue, I keep on hearing, they want to expand. They want to expand on their history to each other so that they can have a deeper understanding of one another. And that's what's so interesting about a lot of those relationships. I keep on seeing the energy almost talking about something that they don't feel inclined to talk about, but they almost feel like they need to help expand another person's vernacular in relationality to how another person sees something or how they energetically experience it. So everything I keep on seeing in relationality to that is the space by which, like, I keep on identifying that this energy is doing that work, as it were, to define upon it. But also I keep on seeing that there's something really restorative about it, because it's helping another person see, like, know each other more or understand why they feel the way they do about something, is all I keep on seeing. Final card for today's spread, and this is the energy moving deep with Undying Union, those Magician partnerships. Wow, we've got the Four of Pentacles in its upright. And the thing about some of this Four of Pentacles energy in its upright is it speaks a lot towards steadfastness, is what I keep on seeing. Why are we effectively seeing so much here in relationality to steadfastness? Because the steadfastness that we effectively articulate or work upon has a lot to do with the space by which we identify, like, and I keep on hearing and this is what I was getting for the energy deep within divine union, which is healthy energy wants us steadfast, which is the space by which we feel energetically stable. And that's what I keep on hearing, that for a lot of these relationships, if these are relationships that they feel, like I keep on seeing the energy feels comfortable, they feel supported in that energetic partnership, they feel like they are providing that sense of stability to one another. I keep on hearing when we become steadfast, that should be a point of celebration. Others should feel that way too, right? It's the space by which another amplifies or articulates their energetic joy upon something. And that's why I keep on seeing that even in the space by which they may be seeing something outside of partnership that may hurt them, or there may be a desire to change, this is potentially the conversation that they're happening with one another, which is stable energy desires you to be steadfast. Stable energy sees us steadfast and they feel energetic joy upon it, is what I keep on hearing. Like the steadfastness of identity, like the energy that sees us steadfast and celebrates is often the articulation of effectively desiring, like working toward the maturation, right? Matching our own maturation in relationality to what it is we're trying to create. So I keep on seeing that this is the energy that is looking like, I feel like this is energy that's deep within divine union, potentially seeing some fragmentation that is happening outside of partnership in the midst of never feeling more secure, and saying like, this is what a maturation process feels like, right? This is the modality of understanding. And that's why I keep on seeing the energy say they can't touch something in that way, because it's the energy that says, like, it's an impossible conversation to have with another and saying, why are you sad seeing me stable, right? It's like that's the type of conversation that this type of energy would have to be able to facilitate a conversation outside of partnership. And this is why I keep on seeing that the energy is identifying and recognizing, like I keep on hearing, like they're identifying what feels like, this is the sound of them identifying what is a supportive environment, right? It's like, it's the energy that feels that stabilization point as we become more steadfast. Bottom of the deck on this reading. I know that this is going to sound really, really rough. Not everybody wants to see you steadfast. I know. It hurts me to say it, right? It hurts me. It hurts me to say it, but it's just the truth of situations or circumstances. Like the space by which we understand and recognize, the space by which we understand and work into a space of energetically recognizing supportiveness is something that we energetically build towards. But you have to understand the context by which we see and we work through difficulties or hurdles by which, and I keep on getting this, like our own, how do I describe this? Our own energetic insecurity is such that it can sometimes make us, like, when we're too energetically insecure, and that fragility that we often go through can sometimes create this feeling of effectively, I keep on hearing like running, like moving in a way, moving in ways that we're constantly allowing our worries to dictate our direction instead of our energetic intention, right? And this is why, like, when we build into, like, trauma, like, and I need to point this out, trauma is the space by which we're worrying about things constantly, right? And this is often the framework by which we navigate a traumatized mind. It's not even the fact that the traumatized mind, that there's something wrong, but it's the constant anticipation of something becoming wrong that creates that, like, that creates that effective, like, that creates that space by which you're constantly scrambling about, right, this way and that. So I feel like there's something very significant and important that we see that's potentially happening right now in relationality to some energy healing in a massive way, in relationality to trauma that they've experienced in the past. And so for a lot of the energy that is in separation, I keep on, it's funny because I almost feel like the energy in separation saying a healthy relationship shouldn't require one to be a mind reader. It's a nice to have. It's not a need to have, right? It's a beautiful thing to be able to anticipate and predicate upon another's needs, but it shouldn't feel, right? It shouldn't feel necessary in order to maintain a healthy energetic connection, right? And this is often how we recognize when we're in an unhealthy connection, because if we get into the space that we start healing and we stop overly predicating, like from the place of fear, right? The space by which the relationship remains in a space of being energetically intact. So everything I keep on seeing there's something really beautiful that's happening, even if it's painful. Because for some of the energy, this is either energy that is getting apologies from another in the space that they put someone in that position and it wasn't okay, is what I keep on hearing. Somebody giving an authentic apology about how it wasn't okay to put someone in that energetic position, or simultaneously working through the space of being able to recognize and identify a situation that is only like it's that they can go back to, so long as they're okay with being in that energetic modality, like this, the space by which another is checking to see if, like, being away from someone has created a longing so great that they don't need to have a clarifying conversation. Or these are relationships that are building into the context of understanding and recognizing that it's not just enough to say that one desires something, but to see the environment by which they're saying it, right? You can't say that you want healthy relationship and then get obsessed, but then see someone giving one attention and say that another person's obsessed with the self. You can't say that you want to build into healthy partnership, but then there's no room in the experience of the self to be able to navigate one, right? We move in accordance to, we build I keep on hearing a healthy manifestation, our life becomes a sanctuary to welcome in those energetic changes. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, like, and this is what I mean about these new relationships that they're forming. They're not just looking at what they're each other saying. They're looking from the aura. They're looking at the auric work around someone, which says, do you build your life as sanctuary to welcome in that energetic manifestation? Like, are you doing the things necessary that will allow that to come into energetic fruition? That is where we find and that's happening across all of the frequencies. And that's why, and I feel like, again, for the energy that's coming into divine union, it's a space by which they say there's a season. I'm finally ready to tell you something that I don't feel will change the shape of what it is that I'm trying to create with you. Versus the energy that's deep within divine union that's seeing something and saying they're not ready to navigate the impact of this relationship in the fabric of their experience. And that's why the energy is not necessarily saying something. They're just observing it and holding catharsis for each other as they do so. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. If you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. It is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you. I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, so I'd encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone who attended our recent class on the star card. Our next class will be held Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the moon card. If you'd like to become part of that tarot class program, you just need to head on over to my Stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also have full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. That is access to over 19 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You'll also have access to a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again